Thank you for joining us for IFA Insights, where we sit down with experienced financial professionals on topics for advisors looking to go independent. Today we have Brandon Day, ARC's Chief Market Strategist, here to discuss the topic of succession planning. Thank you for joining. Tell me a little bit about your affiliation with ARC.
Yes, thank you. My affiliation, I'm a founder of ARC and wear a couple hats. One of them is Chief Market Strategist. I work closely with the investment arm of ARC, known as AIQ, to develop a macro view of markets and then convey those points to our advisors in a way that they can relate to their clients. In addition, I still run my own book of business and have another team known as 360 Wealth Planners.
Tell us a little bit about that team. How many people work on that? How many advisors in it?
Sure. So that team, currently I have 6 other people on the team. Of those, 3 of them are admin based and 3 of them are advisor based. So different roles and responsibilities, from financial planning, insurance focus, various things like that, to make sure that we can give comprehensive planning.
Excellent. So we're going to talk a little bit about succession planning. And I think every advisor knows that a succession plan is important. But what we've found over and over again is so many advisors don't have one. Why do you think that is?
I think it's a little bit of the cobbler's kids have no shoes. I think we get busy, and that's one of those things. It's a bit morbid, and those types of things people tend to put off. I liken a little bit in financial planning how many times I've come across new clients that don't have any legal documents at all. And so part of any good financial plan should be sure that you have at least some kind of documents in place, wills or trust, but have something as opposed to nothing. I do think that where some advisors get stuck is I don't know that they have a full understanding of the difference between a succession plan versus a contingency plan. The way I've tried to explain this, at least to our network, is a contingency plan is a little bit like your basic will if you're talking to a client. It doesn't have to be perfect. Yes, you want to be thorough, but having nothing is catastrophic. You have something is always better than nothing. Over time, as your business matures and you have more insights on how you like to transition it, that graduates to succession planning. Or if you're talking to a client, maybe high-level trust planning. So it's very synonymous with dealing with the client.
Yeah, definitely. So do you have any personal experience of like a pitfall or just a terrible scenario with an advisor that didn't have a succession or contingency plan in place?
I do. It's a bit secondhand, but I was transitioning over to independence over a decade ago. And one of my best clients, as we're trying to transition, one of the things they wanted to ascertain from me before they signed the paperwork, which is a little bit shocking to me because we had such a great relationship, was, if Brandon, we love you, but if something happens to you, what happens to us? And that was a little bit of the light bulb moment. And what had prompted that is their neighbor and very close friends had an advisor, and a solo advisor that suddenly passed away, and there was no plan, and it was absolute chaos. And of course, it affected that advisor's family adversely, and then the clients were really left in a bad position as well.
Yeah, I think something a lot of advisors don't realize either is if they don't have that plan in place, the way regulation is written, nothing can be paid out to your family.
Yes, I think that's just completely one of the biggest unknowns for a lot of advisors is legally the RIA can't pay your family. They're not licensed. So we've come across some advisors that certainly thought, well, you'll take care of my family. Yes, if you have the legal documentation to allow us to do so, absolutely we want to take care of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So if an advisor's never had one in place, what advice would you give them for starting to build one? Just a basic one.
Probably again similar on the same vein as talking to a younger client. Something's better than nothing. The first version probably won't be the last version, but get something in place. So probably the first step is really just get started, okay, and know that it doesn't have to be perfect, and that it's probably going to change over time.
Yeah, absolutely. You can always supersede a plan.
You can always supersede and change it.
Yeah. So how can ARC help with a succession plan for one of our advisors?
So, certainly years ago we saw that so many advisors just didn't have something in place, and we encouraged it, and eventually we switched from encouraging to mandating, because we're all fiduciaries, and we've got to make sure we do what's right for somebody's family and their clients. And so we have to have that legal document in place. So that's one of the things I think that helps us, is that we're going to walk you through the process, but we are also going to make sure that you do the process, because it's too important to people that you care about to not do it.
Yeah. And there's flexibility there, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be the plan we say and the terms we say. They can do that internally if they've got juniors,
Absolutely.
If they've got a buddy in the network they want to use.
As long as you're doing it with another licensed person, fine. It can be within the network, it can be out of the network. It's your book of business. The main thing is that you have something in place. And certainly there's been many times that we've consulted to help some of the advisors to make sure that they've thought through some of the pitfalls as they're asking some of these questions, and give them some guidance there. And certainly we've got some prototype documents and things like that, but it's completely flexible. We were not concerned if it's us who's the succession plan or another advisor. We're concerned if you don't have a succession plan.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else you think we should touch on when it comes to succession planning?
I do think, I may have mentioned before, I think some advisors get a little stuck in trying to get the best rate of return for their book of business and the best multiple and how that's going to occur. And I think sometimes that clouds their thinking a little bit, and that they forget to just get something in place. And I think that being able to bifurcate contingency plan or your basic will versus a succession plan, more advanced estate planning, and understand that you need both.
Yeah, definitely. All right, thank you, Brandon. If you found today's content useful, please subscribe to our channel. We look forward to seeing you around here again.